We are on chapter 22 of A Course in Miracles. This chapter is called Salvation and the Holy Relationship. And this is section 4. Section 4 is the branching of the road. When you come to the place where the branch in the road is quite apparent, you cannot go ahead. You must go either one way or the other. For now, if you go straight ahead, the way you went before you reach the branch, you will go nowhere. The whole purpose of coming this far was to decide which branch you will take now. The way you came no longer matters. It can no longer serve. No one who reaches this far can make the wrong decision, although he can delay. And there is no part of the journey that seems more hopeless and futile than standing where the road branches and not deciding on which way to go. It is but the first few steps along the right way that seem hard, for you have chosen, although you still may think you can go back and make the other choice. This is not so. A choice made with the power of heaven to uphold it cannot be undone. Your way is decided. There will be nothing you will not be told if you acknowledge this. And so you and your brothers stand here in this holy place before the veil of sin that hangs between you and the face of Christ. Let it be lifted. Raise it together with your brother, for it is but a veil that stands between you. Either you or your brother alone will see it as a solid block, nor realize how thin the drapery that separates you now. Yet it is almost over in your awareness, and peace has reached you even here before the veil. Think what will happen after. The love of Christ will light your face and shine from it into a darkened world that needs the light. And from this holy place he will return with you, not leaving it nor you. You will become his messenger, returning him unto himself. Think of the loveliness that you will see who walk with him, and think how beautiful will you and your brother look to the other. How happy you will be to be together after such a long and lonely journey where you walked alone. The gates of heaven open now for you. Will you now open to the sorrowful, and none who looks upon the Christ in you but will rejoice. How beautiful the sight you saw beyond the veil, which you will bring to light the tired eyes of those as weary now as once you were. How thankful will they be to see you come among them, offering Christ's forgiveness to dispel their faith in sin. Every mistake you make, your brother will gently have corrected for you. For in his sight your loveliness is his salvation, which he would protect from harm. And you will be your brother's strong protector from everything that seems to rise between you both. So shall you walk the world with me, whose message has not yet been given everyone. For you are here to let it be received. God's offer still is open, yet it waits acceptance. From you who have accepted is it received. Into your hand, joined with your brothers, is it safely given, for you who share it have become its willing guardian and protector. To all who share the love of God, the grace is given to the givers of what they have received. And so they learn that it is theirs forever. All barriers disappear before their coming, as every obstacle was finally surmounted that seemed to rise and block their way before. This veil you and your brother lift together opens the way to truth to more than you. Those who would let illusions be lifted from their minds are the world's saviors, walking the world with their Redeemer and carrying his message of hope and freedom and release from suffering to everyone who needs a miracle to save him. How easy is it to offer this miracle to everyone? No one who has received it for himself could find it difficult, for by receiving it, he learned it was not given him alone. Such is the function of a holy relationship, to receive together and give as you received. Standing before the veil, it still seems difficult, but hold out your hand, join with your brothers, and touch this heavy-seeming block, and you will learn how easily your fingers slip through its nothingness. It is no solid wall, and only an illusion stands between you and your brother and the holy self you share together. Okay, that was less than 5 minutes. The readings are usually like 10 minutes. So what do we have to say about this? The branching of the road. When you come to a fork in the road, take it, as Yogi Berra once said. And Jesus is saying, you've come this far. You know, if you're if you're still reading this, you are actually at a pivotal point in your journey. And Jesus has been saying, you're really almost there. And remember, he was talking originally to Helen and Bill. Helen and Bill were highly educated people, very sensitive people. Also, they could not for the life of them get along together. They had this bitter relationship, apparently, a love-hate relationship. Helen had a love-hate relationship with a lot of things. She had a love-hate relationship with God. She had a love-hate relationship with the Bible. She knew the Gospels well. She knew the New Testament, Old Testament. She knew the King James Bible very well. So Jesus was talking to Helen originally, in this. He was saying, you've come this far. You can't really go back now. You can turn away, but that would be silly, right? And you really can't, he says here, you really can't go back now. And I think that's very true of life in general, is that with each progressive stage of our unfolding consciousness in life, we can't go back to the previous stage, and we can't even remember what it was like in that previous stage. I can't remember. My son now is almost 5 years old. Like, I can kind of remember what that was like, through him, through what's it called? Man, you know what I'm talking about. But I can kind of feel what it feels like to be a young boy again, but I can't be in that consciousness anymore. And Jesus is saying, once you get to a certain point, there's really no turning back. You could fight it. You can delay. You can delay as long as you want. And Jesus started the course by saying that you can delay as long as you want. But why would you do that? Because the peace is yours right now if you want it. War is over if you want it, as John Lennon and Yoko Ono sang. War is over if you want it. But why? And so why would you delay? Well, the reason why you would delay is because it's hard, right, and scary. Jesus says it is but the first few steps along the right way that seem hard, and with the road branches, and you take the path of the Holy Spirit. But that's hard. That's a hard path. Although you still may think you can go back and make the other choice, this is not so. A choice made with the power of heaven to uphold it cannot be undone. Your way is decided. There will be nothing you will not be told if you acknowledge this. It waits for your acceptance. It waits for your acknowledgement. Helen had already said, I want God. She had that vision of the scroll. She found the scroll, and in the middle of the scroll it said, God is. And she realized that she could, if she unrolled the scroll to the left, she could know all of the past. If she unrolled it to the right, she could know all of the future. But she said, no, I'm just going to stay with God is. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. That is the treasure that I found in this treasure chest. That is the treasure that I want. And Jesus, in her mind, said, yep, you got it right that time. And that was before the course was actually, the dictation started of the course. So Helen had made that choice. And then she and Bill made that choice together. And they were, Helen was more reluctant in many ways than Bill. Bill said early on, he said, if this is true, then we have to change everything. everything's got to change. And Helen said, I know it's all true, I just don't believe it. And so you and your brother stand here in this holy place before the veil of sin that hangs between you and the face of Christ. Let it be lifted, raise it together with your brother, for it is but a veil that stands between you. Either you or your brother alone will see it as a solid block and will realize how thin the drapery that separates you now. Yet it's almost over in your awareness, and peace has reached you even here before the veil. So Jesus is saying, this is all almost over. This is all, you're almost there. The veil is very thin now. The Maya, you could say, the veil of Maya. It's very thin because you've come this far and you have gotten this far in your consciousness where you understand what is being said here. And what is it that's being said? It's saying, all you really want is peace. You don't want attack and judgment. You don't want to live in the misery that you have been living in for ages. You only want the love of God, and that is, the true treasure that we all seek. That is the Holy Grail that we all seek, that we all long for. I just want to say something that I started to do this book now called The Gospel of Ayahuasca, and I'm writing it for 2 weeks until Christmas. It's going to be probably a couple hundred pages by the time it's done. So I've written this whole book in a couple weeks, and it's really just reflections on ayahuasca and how it relates to the Gospels and, of course, the miracles. I haven't really talked that much about ayahuasca on this. I will at some point. But anyway, my friend reposted my announcement about this book that I posted on Facebook, and this one guy said, all these gurus and all these life coaches and they're all basically shady characters. They're scam artists, and they're bilking people for their money, and they're all bad. And my friend who reposted it tried to defend me. He was like, you haven't even met this guy, and you're already judging him. And you're judging all these people. Who are you to say to say that about all the self-help people out there and all the gurus and all the. Now, granted, what I said in response was, yeah, it's true. Everyone is a wounded healer. None of these people, including myself, are perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have our wounds that we're in the process of healing. That doesn't mean that we don't have what to share, and that we and what we do share is not valuable. I would say that it's actually invaluable. You can't really put a price tag on it. And I do, the thing that I would say, and what Jesus is saying here in this course, is love is real. John Lennon also had a song, love is real. It's not something that you can just put down like that. It's a real thing, and love can heal everything. And so when you share the love of God, the peace of God, that is no small gift. And when people, put down others for doing that, that just shows the depth of their resistance. and how far they are in their minds, in their consciousness, from accepting that for themselves. So that's my little sermon. And they don't, they're not ready yet to be at peace. They would rather stay stuck in their little cubicle. They don't want to get outside the box. And this is not a judgment of anyone. If anything, I'm just responding to his judgment, this guy's judgment. I know it's only fear, right? If you do this course, you realize everything is either an extension of love or a call for love. So what this guy was saying is just a call for love, which does not call for attack. A Course in Miracles student, a true Course in Miracles student would not attack this guy back. So I did write back to him, but I said something which was, I said he was right on a certain level, but everyone's a wounded healer, and no one's perfect, but that doesn't mean that there's not something very valuable to share. And not to, to just cave to that kind of categorical thinking. To all who share the love of God, the grace is given to the givers of what they have received, and so they learn that it is theirs forever. All barriers disappear before their coming, as every obstacle was finally surmounted that seemed to rise and block their way before. This veil you and your brother lift together opens the way to truth to more than you. Those who would let illusions be lifted from their minds are the world's saviors, walking the world with their Redeemer and carrying his message of hope and freedom and release from suffering to everyone who needs a miracle to save him. There's a great quote attributed to St. Francis, which is, "Preach the gospel wherever you go, and only when necessary use words." And A Course in Miracles students are like that. They don't preach, they don't missionize, they don't convert. I'm saying true Course in Miracles students, many do fight with each other, try to convert each other, try to say that you're wrong in what you believe. But I would say someone who's really following this course would not try to change anyone's mind except through their own example. Not through words, but just through sharing the love and saying that whatever anyone thinks about anything, including how you think about me, does not affect me whatsoever, because I know who I am. I know what I am. So nothing can take that away from me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And when you are firm in that yourself, that has a very big effect. And that's not maybe clear what the effect is. And Jesus says that in the Course, is that you're not aware of what effect you're really having, what impact you're really having, but you are having an impact. And things will shift as you hold this down. And you really are, not to make anyone special, but you are the Savior. You are the Redeemer, just as Jesus is, right? You become the embodiment of the Christ on earth in doing this process and going all the way with this process. So let's leave it at that. And it's hard. It's going to be hard, especially at the beginning, but after a while, all the hardness goes away. The barriers are gone. The veil is lifted, and you are in your true self, true nature, and that's all that's needed. Next section is weakness and defensiveness. See you soon. Thank you for listening. Shalom.